Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about a really troubling report from inside the Department of Justice. And I mean, really inside the sort of highest inner sanctum, the Solicitor General's office. Okay. The Solicitor General is the officer who oversees all of the litigation before the U.S. Supreme Court. And not only that, she or he also decides about whether to take any appeal in any court of appeals, because the job is to be sure that there's a consistency to the law and a strategy to how things are developing. The office is extremely, it's arguably the most elevated, august position in the entire legal firmament of the United States. Thurgood Marshall was the Solicitor General. Elena Kagan was the Solicitor General. Robert Jackson was the Solicitor General, and many others. But as eminent as it is, it's both teeny and obscure. There are like 16 lawyers on this half a corridor on the 5th floor, same floor in the Department of Justice as the Attorney General's office, and they are the brainiacs of the brainiac. You walk down the corridor and feel it sort of bristle. They are also, by tradition, the Solicitor General is called the 10th Justice because his responsibility is to be absolutely faithful, candid, and credible to especially the justices, and they give great credence to what the SG says. On the other hand, if that confidence is lost, there is, as it has been a couple times, even in recent history, I experienced it. It's a real crisis for the entire government. So we have reports from all over the department of really ravaging, hollowing out, and politicization of litigation unit after litigation unit. But the SG's office you would think would hold out the longest, sort of culturally. And in fact, there's now a pretty detailed report in the New York Times that the same forces of politicization and crassness and representation most seriously and reprehensibly, representation of Trump as the sort of mission and raison d'etre of the SG's office, rather than of the government, is, huge inroads there with, I think, what could be really long-standing institutional erosion before the court. Start here. 16 people, 9 have left in 2025. That's mind-boggling in the history of the U.S. Solicitor General's office. You wait maybe one a year, one every 2 years. They go to, they're there for a few years, and then they go usually, teach at an Ivy League school or whatever. This exodus really they are the creme de la creme, and they don't talk, out of school. But that many people leaving is a real vote of no confidence from the highest level lawyers in the department. Ed Needler is one of them. Now, he was maybe getting on to retirement age, but he's been there 46 years, more arguments than anyone ever. And he's just this, institutional bulwark in the SG's office. And that's the way the Department of Justice runs, right? The Solicitor General, this guy in particular, John Sauer, he's an outsider. He doesn't come from, within that culture. He's got credentials, but he's, doesn't know the SG's office. He's also brought in a deputy. In fact, he's brought in 2 political deputies. I know this will all seem picayune, but within the 2x2 square, as I think Jane Austen put it, world of the Solicitor General's office, it's really big. He's hired 2 political deputies instead of just 1. And probably most so. Ed Needler and others have just left, and that leaves the office barren. And as it's reconstituting itself, Sauer is putting in only conservatives, conservatives with strong credentials, but conservatives nonetheless. And that's exactly counter to the tradition of the SG's office, which is, ideologically across the board and diverse. He also did Sauer hire the son of a law partner, really the sort of person who would never become an assistant solicitor general. And again, it just spreads through the culture. Maybe the worst thing is that under the Sauer and Trump 2.0, the office has taken to adding these really politicized and kind of gross introductions to the whole brief that they would file that are often larded up with Trump's own rhetoric. And then elsewhere in the brief, there'll be just not credible claims about, Trump saving the world with his tariffs and the like. That's had to have come from on high, maybe even above Sauer as a political command, and just the justices who read it would be, reflexively appalled and wonder how much they can generally trust the Solicitor General's office to play it straight. And if that is the coin of the realm of DOJ in general, but nowhere more than the SG's office. In the report in the Times, you have a former Assistant Solicitor General saying that language makes the office sound like a zealous ideologue, and this really gets to the core of it to me, they look like they're representing an individual. They don't look like they're representing the United States or the federal government. And yes, the court is solicitous in general, but this kind of sort of tarnished, really debased practices coming from, not just the White House or not just the Attorney General, but the Solicitor General has to be taken as a sign of real pollution and debasement. And among other things, it's the sort of thing that when the Trump administration is gone, it will remain as kind of a weight, an albatross around their neck. The people who are still there and the like is something that, like the rest of the department, they'll have to somehow shed and outgrow. But to the, possibly kind of elite snobby elements in the federal government, and the Solicitor General is as elite as it gets. They really are, the Navy SEALs of the Navy SEALs of the law. This evidence of what you would think would be the final frontier to really get for the administration to really get their political hooks in them. It's clear it's happened, and it's happening more. At the same time, by the way, they're bringing all these emergency applications, and the Supreme Court is being pretty damn solicitous of them. And, that's a sign of a sort of measure of success in a way, just in sort of neutral terms, sort of wins and losses. But we'll see what's happening on the merits. The birthright citizenship case is a good example. The first administration under Trump, they said, as a Solicitor General normally would, we can't do this. We're not going there. And the SG is making the final decision. In essence, it's the 10th justice and has even more distance than the rest of the department. Now they're doing it. They, the club, the political club has been applied, and the SG has come into line. So many different signs that this most vitally independent an eminent and elite office within the Department of Justice is like everywhere else being hollowed out and politicized. And within the sort of Washington culture, that's cataclysmic. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.